Hi，大家好，我係小 Marguerite，and 我今日會教你 numbers，我哋會繼續講 numbers because if you saw my first video, you'll know that we were talking about the numbers behind me, and today we're going to mix the numbers up a bit, and we're going to put the high tones together and the low tones together, and then mix them up high and low tones, and so that you'll have some practice maybe in saying your phone number or your Hong Kong ID card number. So we're going to go through those examples, and hopefully that will help you get more practice speaking numbers in a practical sense, because you don't walk around reciting 0 to 10 in order, usually, unless you're learning them. So let's do some practical examples. So first of all, let's take a look at the numbers, and if you remember, I use the Yale and China phonetic system, and the Yale and China system uses an H to denote a low tone, okay? And then they use accent marks to denote high tones, mid tones, not mid tone, but like high falling, mid rising, that kind of thing. So just remember H is low, okay? Here we go. We've got Leng, Yat, Yi, Sam, Say, Lo, Tat, Bat, Gao, Sop. Okay, so let's have a go at mixing them up. Let's do the high tones first, so you have practice just doing high tones, okay? So we've got, in Hong Kong, phone numbers are 8 numbers long. And if you live in Hong Kong, or if you're coming to Hong Kong, usually the telemarketing numbers will start with a sam, with a 3, okay? So let's do 3, 1, 3, 7, and then switch it up, 7, 3, 1, 3. How about that? Okay, so we've got sam, yat, sam, tat, tat, sam, yat, sam. Or if you want to say it faster, sam, yat, sam, tat, ta, sam, yat, sam. Those are all really high tones, so your voice is always at the very top, right? Sam, yat, sam, tat, ta, sam, yat, sam. So what if we want to change it up a little bit and do, well, let's not change it up yet. Let's do some low tones, okay? So what are our low tones? They are with the H's. Now, a phone number is not going to start with a 0, right? In Hong Kong, a phone number might start with a 6, or iPhones used to start with a 5. So if a friend called you and they had a phone number that started with a 5, you knew that they had just gotten the iPhone. But now that's not so true anymore, I don't think. So let's use 5, 6, can't really use 10, but we can use 0, 5, 6, 0, 5, 6, 0, 5, 6. Okay, ready? 5, 6, 0, 5, 6, 0, 5. So they're all pretty low. You're in the basement, kind of. 5, 6, 0, 5, 6, 0, 5. So I would not want that phone number, because I chose my phone number because there was variation between low and high, because it made it a lot easier to say, I think, and a lot easier to remember. In fact, sometimes you'll see people, it's a lot easier to remember your phone number in Cantonese, I think, because of the tones. It's musical, whereas in English it's just a number. So, okay, so let's mix it up a little bit. And why don't we use we haven't used the gao, because that is the gao. Remember? Like gao, the mid-rising tone. Gao. So let's see. Let's use 9, 7, 6, 1. And then let's see. That's a high one. Let's go back down. 0, 3. What number haven't I used yet? 0, 3, 5, high tone, 7. Okay, so now we've got one that goes up and down, right? You've got 9, 7, 6, 1. 0357. Isn't that easier to remember? It like goes up and down. So for me, that's a lot easier to remember. 9761035797610357. So that's one that's been mixed up a little bit. Well, let's see. So I talked about Hong Kong ID card numbers, right? And if you have an ID card number, or if you're coming to Hong Kong, you'll get a Hong Kong ID card number. And so usually they start with a letter of the alphabet and then a bunch of numbers and then maybe a letter or a number in brackets. And it's usually six digits, yeah. So why don't we start with like the letter G? We'll start with a G, and then we'll do like let's see, a 7, a 2, 1, 0, let's see, 3, and why don't we do the 9 at the end? And then you might have a bracket, and in the bracket, let's just put letter A, okay? So this is what a typical Hong Kong ID card number looks like. Totally random, so if you're like, oh my God, that's my number, I totally chose these at random. So let's have a go at this. So say you're at the immigration or at a bank or somewhere, and they're like, oh, 你身份證幾多號? 身份證 is your ID card, and 幾多號? You would say G 7210339 括號 A 括號 I like the brackets, right? 括號 A. So G 7210339 A. Well, you could just say A too. You don't have to say brackets because everybody in Hong Kong, if you have a number in the brackets, they would know that. It comes at the end. So, okay. G 7210339 括號 A. And that's an example of an ID card that to me would be easy to remember. Why? Because you're going high, low, high, and then the gao. Okay? So I hope that mixing it up was helpful to you. And if you like my video, please subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to seeing you back on another video. So thanks so much, and keep learning and keep practicing. Bye.